From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your North Coast Neighborhood Forecast.
Everything Medical has been your complete source for medical supplies since 2007. Our 10,000 square foot showroom has the largest selection of home medical equipment in the North State. We have what you need. Everything Medical, Athens Avenue, Reading.
Boy, it cleared out nicely along the coast, didn't it? You got to see sunny skies, temperatures in the low to mid 60s for those daytime highs. You know, here's what we're going to be looking at is probably more sunshine, although over the next 24 to 48 hours, we are going to start to see more clouds. And it will depend on where you are on the coast, which will depend on how quickly that fog decides to move on in. But inland, a different story. We're not really dealing with the fog there. We're dealing mainly with the sunny skies and hot conditions. But the temperatures inland and even the coast we'll start to see a drop here, especially toward the end of the week. Do you want to mention there is a coastal flood alert to tell you about is the coastal flood advisory. Now, it won't take effect until 11 o'clock tonight and then will basically expire at 1 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So it's going to be kind of an overnight event. But if you live in the area, you know the flood-prone areas. This is going to be your typical areas that see flooding during these high astronomical tides, which can cause some of that minor flooding around the Humboldt Bay. So again, just be aware of that overnight tonight. There you can see as we take a look at your hour-by-hour forecast, dropping down to the low 60s for the inland areas and for the coast, some of that fog developing, especially out at Humboldt County. Not as much. I think we may see some more breaks in those clouds here for Del Norte County, but temperatures in the mid-50s. Well, let's go and take a look at that satellite image here, and you can see that big ridge of high pressure. See the arc in the clouds here. That's where all the clouds and the storms are diverting up toward north, and as a result, we're left with those mainly sunny skies. Now, futurecast, here's what it looks like. Let's take you into tonight. You see how the fog begins to kind of make its way back toward Eureka and most of Humboldt County, although down in southern Humboldt County, getting a bit of that break there. But you see Del Norte County, yeah, maybe a little bit of that fog, especially making its way into southwestern portions of the coast. Otherwise, it should be mainly clear, actually. Then we go into your Tuesday afternoon, and you see we're really kind of getting sucked in with that fog and those low clouds around Eureka, northward into Trinidad. But as you head north off into Del Norte County, not looking bad. Probably mainly clear skies. And then it starts to try to clear out in the afternoon on Wednesday for the coast. But as we go into Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we're still seeing some fog there. Not as much out towards Crescent City. But look what happens. It really starts to kind of push its way toward the coast here late in the day on Wednesday. So probably more clouds moving into the Crescent City area. And of course, all the way and just kind of hugging the coast there. Meanwhile, our neighbors off to our east in Siskiyou County, looks like they're getting some pretty strong thunderstorms there. Certainly something worth watching. I don't think those thunderstorms will be making their way to the inland areas here in the North Coast, but something that certainly bears watching. Do have to tell you about a small correct advisory for the immediate coast here for Crescent City all the way down to south of Eureka. That will expire at 3 p.m. tomorrow. And we also have a gale warning, which will expire at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. That's for all of these areas in the darker shades of purple, which, by the way, does make its way to the immediate coast near that Crescent City area as well. Here are some of those wave heights. You can see not that bad in Shelter Cove, but they do get a bit higher as you do head northward, especially down into southern Oregon. There's tomorrow afternoon, and those wave heights along the coast, not that bad, but you start heading out into sea and they get into the 6-7 foot range, and of course higher than that as you start heading out further. There you can see your marine forecast. Winds from the northwest at 5 to 10 knots, waves to the northwest at 8 feet at about 8 seconds, and there you can see that small correct advisory that I was mentioning to you earlier. Here's your forecast for your Tuesday. Now, again, I expect mainly sunny skies for places like Crescent City, but those clouds will start to move back in come Wednesday. Late in the day, probably Wednesday, and then, of course, Thursday as well. Temperatures dropping down to about 59 degrees for Friday and Saturday, but Klamath, a high of 73, Oryx 71. So, again, notice Smith River, Crescent City, sunny skies as well as Klamath, but you head southward, we start to see more in the way of cloud cover. So places like Arcata, Eureka, partly to mostly cloudy skies, but inland, sunny skies. And in fact, I think temperatures may even be a degree or two warmer for your Tuesday than it was today. So it should be a bit warmer out there. Let's take you southward. Ferndale, 65, 70 in Fortuna, Hydesville, about 71. And there you see plenty of sunshine in the forecast. Low to mid-60s later on this week. So again, those cooler temperatures are certainly going to make their presence known here later this week. 83 degrees for Red Crest. There you can see about 90 90 for Miranda. Garberville about 91 for your Tuesday. And Shelter Cove 65. And also seeing those temperatures dropping low to mid 80s for the weekend, although we may start to see that increase by Monday of next week. There's your 7-day forecast for Eureka. And we're going to call it partly cloudy, partly to mostly cloudy skies for your 4th of July. But then those clouds really start to make their way back. Low clouds and fog probably through the day on Wednesday and possibly Thursday and Friday as well. Temperatures upper 50s to low 60s.